What's up, Sooner Nation, and welcome to another edition of the WhackoReview Podcast, where we go over all things OU football coming out of the weekend. I'm Steve Curtis, the voice behind Wacko Sooners, and today, your Oklahoma Sooners are 6-1, bowl eligible for the 27th straight season, second longest active bowl streak behind Georgia at 28 straight seasons, and we are ranked 13th team in the country. And we've got plenty to dive into today, namely Oklahoma's absolute domination of Shane Beamer and the South Carolina Gamecocks on Saturday, as well as what our plan should be moving forward with the gauntlet of our SEC schedule starting this upcoming Saturday against the Ole Miss Rebels. We're going to bring it all down right here on Wacko Sooners. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. And remember, go follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, game highlights, and of course a few memes and reels to keep it lighthearted and fun like we like it here in Sooner Nation. So go hit those follows and always stay in the Wacko loop. 26-7. The Oklahoma Sooners down there at the South Carolina State Fair in Columbia at Willie B against a pretty dang good South Carolina defensive line, one of the higher rated D lines in the SEC going into this last weekend. And we gave it to them, both sides of the ball. It was fun to watch. And no, scoreboard wasn't, screaming, oh, domination, oh, slaughterfest. If you watched the game, it was a slaughterfest. It was Oklahoma in control all day, all dang day, to the point where South Carolina fans were leaving the stands halfway through the third quarter because they knew that there was nothing they could do. And the Fire Shula, South Carolina's offensive coordinator, the Fire Shula chants were going nuts on the second offensive series for South Carolina in the second half of the game. We went in there pissed off because we got our butts kicked the week before by Texas off of a poor, uncharacteristic performance. We were mad, and a lot of the guys on that team remembered what happened last year when the Gamecocks came to Norman, and it was 21-0 within the first 6 minutes of the first quarter, and we were dead in the water. And they wanted blood, and they went and they got it. They went and they got it hard. They got it fast, all right? That first drive to open the game, holy cow! Torrey Blaylock, 5 carries for 50 yards. Where has that run game been all season? You know what? I actually don't care that much. Well, I would have cared last week. But ultimately, we found a run game, guys. Between our two major running backs that were used in this game, Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson, 159 rushing yards between them. Torrey Blaylock with, I believe it was 19 carries. Yeah, 19 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Robinson, 11 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Both with an average of 5.3 yards per carry. Where has this been? We are coming out of week 8. We've got 5 games left on the schedule. And we just now found it? I swear, Arbuckle, Biedenbow, and Murray must have heard me in last week's Wacko Review last Monday saying, oh, we need a run game, guys. Figure it out. Well, guess what? They figured it out. And South Carolina's defensive line? But South Carolina's defensive line was one of the better rated defensive lines in the SEC coming into week 8. And yet, our crappy, depleted offensive line and our running backs, coached by one terrible coach in DeMarco Murray, were able to figure it out. Now, this doesn't mean that DeMarco's out of my doghouse. Oh no, he bought himself another week. I need to see it consistently. Bill, same thing with the O-line. I need to see this be a consistent trend upwards in performance. We found a run game, guys. 159 yards off of our top 2 running backs. And then Taylor Tatum actually saw the field somehow. He had 1 carry for minus a yard, I believe. But, hey, Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson. Like I said, I got them, and they did good. They look good. X looked fantastic, man. I mean, he's 6'2", 235. Dude's a bowling ball. You give him the ball, And he moves so good too. He's so patient, and he's got great speed. And he just comes in. He says, "Oh, there's a hole. Maybe. Hold on. Oh, there it is now." And then just plunges through it like a freaking freight train. I love to see it. And Torrey looked like he wanted to run over everybody. He found his physicality on Saturday. Looked great. Not enough praises can be said for those two. You know, sophomore and a freshman running back. Those two were fantastic. Those are your guys the rest of the way. I saw Jaden Ott on the field at one point. I was livid. I was about ready to throw hands. I was about ready to find a way to teleport to South Carolina, go up to DeMarco and Ben Arbuckle and just say, "What are we doing? Get this guy out of here. Send him back to California." But man, I love a good run game. Love a good run game, especially when we've been lacking. But again, I want to see consistency against Ole Miss this week. I want to see it continue throughout the rest of the year. As for the rest of the offense, so as a whole, had 319 total yards of offense, 148 passing, 171 rushing, 159 of those were from the running backs. About 4.8 yards per play. I'll take that. 20 first downs, 8 of 16 on third. Fine. 0 turnovers. First one. No, we didn't have any turnovers against Kent State. Second game, no turnovers, but no interceptions from John. Almost got picked off twice, but we got away with it. I think we need to accept that that's just something that's going to happen with John, is that he's going to take risks and that turnovers will come of it. Now, so far, well, I think Texas as a whole was an uncharacteristic performance for him and for the rest of the offense and for the defense, simply because he'd missed 3 weeks of practice and he probably still wasn't feeling totally 100% with his thumb. So I give grace for that one. But every other game that John has played in, he has had at least one turnover, an interception against Illinois State, Michigan, and Temple, and a fumble against Auburn. But every time so far, he's made up for it, right? Very next drive against Illinois State after the interception, went down and scored. Very next, same thing with Michigan. Turnover, but very next drive, went and won it, went and dominated that game. Temple dominated after the turnover. And Auburn didn't dominate right away, but had that game-winning drive at the end to seal it and save the day and set up the defense for that safety. So he's made up for it. Texas, there was no making up for it because the team did not show up to play. The whole unit did not show up to play. So I'll take that. How about this offensive line, man? All those blocks that they were making and holding in the run game on Saturday. Hallelujah. I mean, you cannot have 159 rushing yards out of 2 running backs if your offensive line is not doing something. They did something. They did good. They got to push. They got aggressive. They pushed back. They fought hard. Looked great. I thought Fasusi did all right for the most part. Bunch of weird offsides from the South Carolina defense, but they were still able to hold up fine. John got sacked once. And that was, Fasusi did kind of lose out his battle on the edge there. Thank goodness that South Carolina lost Dylan Stewart early in the game. And I'm not saying that, thank goodness he was injured. Thank goodness we didn't have to play him. As soon as the game was over, I'm like, hope he's good. Heck, even during the game, I'm like, hope he's okay. Glad I don't have to play him. So Fasusi did get beat a couple times, but of course, true freshman, still not fully at 100% with that high ankle sprain. Still did a pretty dang good job. But he did lose out on that one time that John got sacked. John had to scramble and just, there was pressure coming up the middle too. So, but hey, still 1 sack though. I'll take that. I will take that. The offensive performance as a whole, I'm actually pretty happy with. Yes, I know John didn't throw like crazy. He only threw for 150 yards. But you didn't need to. He didn't need to throw for 300, 350 yards. Heck, even 250. He didn't need to throw that much in order to win the game. He had to throw adequately enough to keep the run game on track, to keep South Carolina honest in guarding both. And John also had to run a little bit in order to get a couple extra yards to extend a drive here or there. But he wasn't the main feature of the rushing attack. And you kind of saw him like kind of hanging out back there. He's like, oh, wait, I don't have to run all that much today. I can hand it off to Torrey or X-Rob. And a better complementary performance all across the board on offense. Couple of drops. Scheming deep wasn't there a lot. Now, that's probably still a combination of John's not feeling totally up to it yet and trying to get Giovanni Gibson into a good flow. I think that's a lot of what's factoring in there. But I think that next week against Ole Miss, we may see some more of that stuff now that John will have been 4 weeks removed from surgery and recommended recovery time's about 3. Again, we'll just see what happens. We've been able to do all right so far. And hopefully my 2 complaints about the offensive performance. 1, I did not see Jaren Kanak touch the ball nearly as much as I wanted to. And I will... Nick Saban used to say, when you're in big moments, I don't think of big plays, I think of big players. Get it to Devontae Smith, right? Get the ball to Jaren Kanak. The man is a freight train. The man is a monster. Give it to him and let him use it. Now, I get it. John hones in on Sategna because he is leading the team in receiving. He is an absolute stud. I mean, he's outshined Deion Burks in every way when we thought Deion Burks was going to be the shining star of our receiver room. But Jaren Kanak is so dynamic, and he can do almost anything. Give it to him. I want to see him. I want to see him do it. I want to see him use it. And then a couple drops here and there. Isaiah Sategna did drop a wide open on 3rd down. He's dropped a lot this year. Not like a lot, but he's dropped a lot in crucial moments. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, dude, come on. Just get it. Hold on to it. Because you're not even contested. Don't do anything fancy. Just have your hands there ready. Don't go like, whoop. Just take the ball and go. But he made up for it, no doubt, with a touchdown later and just showing out 7 receptions for 73 yards. Did well. John overall, in terms of his numbers and everything, passing game, he was 18 of 26, so about 69.2%. Again, 150 yards, and the 1 touchdown to Sategna. He had 8 carries for about 14 yards. Again, he didn't have to run that much. He was just hanging out. He was having a good time. He didn't have to go play Superman. He went out, did what he had to do to win, and that was great. And he, again, did get lucky with a few missed picks, but it will come with the territory. That is the nature of John Mateer. And I think that it will pay dividends later down the line when he's back to full strength and when we're able to scheme up this offense to the majority of its potential. I love Giovanni Gibson's performance, slowly getting into that rhythm. Can't wait for him to be more dynamic. I want to see a couple big ones to him next week against Ole Miss because he's a big dude. He's 6'2", 6'3". Use him. Go get him. Use that big wide out and try and make some stuff happen downfield. Because remember, all spring we were hearing how he's number 1. He's the best receiver on that team. I want to see it. Same thing with Elijah Thomas, who took that pooch kick from John when John punted it on 4th and 6. And Elijah Thomas goes down, gets it at the 1, and keeps it there and sets up Marcus Strong for the safety on defense on the very next play. I want to see more Elijah Thomas. Because we're hearing all the time how he could be the next Malik Neighbors. Use him on offense. He played a little bit in the second half, especially there in the 4th quarter in garbage time. But I want to see some stuff built specifically for him, 100%. I think that we have a shot to be really dynamic. I think we got a good bounce back. And I think that we've got players to make us even more dynamic, and we just need to use them more. Jaren Kanak, Giovanni Gibson, and Elijah Thomas. Absolutely. Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson have proven they are the true tested running backs of this team, and they're the guys that we need to ride with the rest of the way. John Mateer doing great coming out of that injury, yeah. He did though still look a little stiff, little not his old self. Granted, again, didn't have to. But if his hand is not fully to the point where he can go ball out next week against Ole Miss and can't deliver some bombs, maybe set up a couple packages for Michael Hawkins Jr. Because he's fine. So maybe scheme up a few things for some big passes for Michael Hawkins Jr. if we need them. I think that could be a good thing to have while John is still figuring out his injury. But ultimately, like even with the injury, John missed 3 weeks of practice. John is not fully healed. He's mostly healed. He's most of the way there. And we actually, you can see on social media the video of John Mateer talking to Lenore Sellers about his injury a little bit, and Lenore was asking him about it. But we need a bounce back win, and we got one. John had a bounce back week in practice, had a bounce back game. And more to the Michael Hawkins package point, John's hand, he does look uncomfortable with it. Because I would see every time before he snapped, he's taking that right hand and he's clenching on his towel behind his back, just holding on it like, ooh, gonna clench out the pain or whatever, or work out the tension on the towel. So again, maybe we need some Michael Hawkins packages if John's hand isn't all the way back. But we will see how that develops. Luckily, we had a run game to lean on, and John didn't have to throw it that much on Saturday. And back to that run game again. Oh, man. 30 carries for 159 yards. Bravo, gentlemen. Well done. I like how Arbuckle and Murray finally said, screw it, out with the whole rotational week-by-week thing. Just pick 2 guys and stick with them. They heard me. Y'all heard me last Monday. They must have heard me too. And we're like, you know what? Steve might know what he's talking about. Dang right I know what I'm talking about. I never played the game. Never coached. I just sit here like a stupid fan on the sidelines. And I tell you what I think. And what do you know? I was right. Don't know what to tell you about that one. But DeMarco, again, you're not out of the doghouse, man. Just keep it up, and we'll talk. Keep it up, and we'll talk. I want to see more consistency with this. I love how, I still don't love DeMarco. I'm still not a DeMarco fan. If it works out this season, fine. I will still be very on the fence about him staying for next year. All right, while we still have time for this segment, let's go over the defense, man. First and foremost, let's go through the drive sheet from Saturday, okay? So we'll go through South Carolina's offensive drive sheet, yardage, results. All right, 72 yards, turnover on downs, 1 yard, punt, -9 yards, punt, 47 yards, touchdown, 26 yards, end of half, 9 yards, punt, 4 yards, punt, 23 yards, interception, -1 yard, punt, 27 yards, turnover on downs, -1 yard, safety, 59 yards, interception. So 2 turnovers on downs, 2 interceptions, a safety, an end of half, and that would be 5 punts. 5 punts. This defense allowed a grand total of 224 total yards from South Carolina on Saturday. 170 pass, 54 rush. 2 interceptions. Taylor Wine on the fake punt there in the second half. That was Taylor Wine. I love you, man. You might be the best defensive player on that team right now. And Jacoby Johnson with his pick there on the last drive, kind of to end the game, where the receiver was just out of tune with the backup quarterback, and Tavon just went up, picked it off in the end zone. Or Jacoby. Jeez. I get the corners mixed up sometimes. A lot of great young guys in there. South Carolina's offense, okay, so we talked about 170 pass yards, 54 rush, 2 interceptions. They were 3 of 15 on third. Those 3 third downs all came in garbage time in the fourth quarter when they put the backups in on both sides of the ball. They were 4 for 7 on fourth down. Not great, but hey, we stopped them on their first drive on 4th and goal. So I'll take that. And at the end of the day, we didn't have to play like stop them on every single yard. We did not have to allow them to get absolutely 0 yards on the day. We didn't have to go that physical or that insane. We need that kind of physicality for the rest of the schedule coming up. We had to play well enough to win, and we actually played probably some of our best defense of the year. South Carolina was 1-2 scoring in the red zone. That first drive of 72 yards down, and we stopped them on 4th and goal. They didn't get that one. And then the only other time that they got to the red zone was close to the end of the second quarter, where holy ref ball, they got some help to get a touchdown. But again, we're not Auburn fans. We play to a level where the refs don't matter. So not going to complain about that. And then they didn't see the red zone for the rest of the game. We came out at halftime ready to just butcher them. And we did. Defense had 66 total tackles. 16 tackles for loss for 77 yards. 7 sacks, or 6, for 64 yards. 11 quarterback hurries. 19 pressures on, I believe it was 38 dropbacks. Are you kidding me? Fantastic. Yes, the South Carolina offensive line is abysmal. I get it. But, dude, this defense, even against Texas, they only allowed like 304 yards, I think it was. 304 total yards, 166 passing, and then crap ton more rushing, or maybe a little bit lesser rushing. But defense against Texas didn't play awful. They played well enough to win. They only allowed 16 points, which, Auburn scored more than Texas did. It's just the offense laid an egg. And that special teams touchdown got some help. Again, wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game, so it doesn't matter. But this defense has continued to play excellent football for 7 straight games. And a lot of people look at the score, 23-6 in Red River, and they're like, oh, the defense must have played terrible. No, it played to the level it normally does, at least on the scorecards. Granted, they tackled poorly, and they lost the gas there in the third and fourth, in the second half, because the offense wasn't playing complimentary. But even then, they still did a pretty dang good job. So 7 games, this defense has played great. This defense has played fantastic. And the only blemish is 1 game that came from the offense being unable to perform. This defense is good enough to keep this offense in every single game. Every game on the schedule is winnable because of this defense. It's a matter of, can the offense go do its job? Can the offense make sure to go score points when we need them? And so far in every game, other than against Texas, offense has been able to do it. So I think when Mateer is full force and full mentality, and with a run game coming out of the woodworks now, assuming it stays consistent, we can be chaos makers in the SEC the last 6 weeks of the season. Absolutely, without a doubt. But now, a grand total, the Oklahoma defense has 28 total sacks on the season in 7 games. That's 4 per game, and they've only allowed 9.4 points per game. So that's 3 field goals a game. Let's go, man. Let's go. So proud of that performance on Saturday. Total domination, vengeance, blood was ours from last year, 35-9. So proud of these guys for bouncing back, because normally Red River is the pendulum on which Oklahoma's season tends to sit. And normally there's a Red River hangover. We saw it in 2023, where Oklahoma almost lost to Central Florida, and then they did lose to Kansas, and then Oklahoma State in the following weeks. And then came out and went a little ballistic to wrap out the year against West Virginia and TCU. And then choked in the Alamo Bowl. But if you asked me in the first 3 years of the Brent Venables era, or any of the years in the Lincoln Riley era or the late Bob Stoops era, we come out of Red River, particularly this one, 23-6, and the whole thing would have just collapsed. Everything would have collapsed. Would have found a way to lose South Carolina, and then probably would have lost 5 straight games to close out the year as well. So lost our last 7 games of the season, finished the year 5-7. If you'd asked me how a 23-6 from this year, if you'd superimposed it on last year, would have worked out, I would have told you, oh no, we're screwed. Same thing with 2023. 2023, we did see the Red River hangout, or 2022, would have been no saving it either. And then every Lincoln Riley team had to lose something every time. But we found a way to come back from this, and not only did we find a way to just come back and get a win, we got a clear win. We got a dominating win against someone we should have dominated and beaten like that. But it looked good. I'm optimistic about the mentality of this team moving forward. What the coaches had to say about John in post-game pressers, he took on so much leadership this week coming out of it, took 100% responsibility and accountability for it. Shouldn't put the whole team on his back like that, but he is the quarterback. He touches the ball every single play. So it makes sense. And John did a really good job this week getting ready for South Carolina. And the team responded. The Sooners responded this time, which is great to see. All right. So we bounced back. So what are we doing next? What do we got going now? Well, we've got Ole Miss coming to town on Saturday, 11 a.m. Central kickoff. They're in Norman. This defense is going to do its dang job. Ole Miss, Georgia on Saturday ended, I believe it was 43-35 Georgia. And Ole Miss had, let's actually double check this stat line. Ole Miss's rushing attack was not good at all. It was not something to enjoy watching. And if you ask me, will Ole Miss be able to run against Oklahoma? Let me put it this way. Ole Miss was able to rush for only 88 yards against Georgia, with Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss's quarterback, having 42 of those rushing yards. So take away Trinidad Chambliss, because so far this defense has proven it can manage mobile quarterbacks, Lenore Sellers and Jackson Arnold. So take away those 42 rushing yards. Ole Miss ran the ball for 46 yards against Georgia off of running backs. Off of 3 running backs, they had 46 total yards. Oklahoma's defensive line is better than Georgia's. That's not a crazy statement to make. It's crazier to argue against that than it is to say that out loud. This Oklahoma defensive line, the front 7, period, is the real deal. The Ole Miss run game is going to get stuffed. Trinidad Chambliss will have to play Superman. You know what? Actually, a pretty decent comp to this. Ole Miss versus Oklahoma will be like Oklahoma versus Michigan, in that Trinidad Chambliss will have to pull a John Mateer and play Superman and have 70 yards on the ground because the rest of the rushing attack can't do anything. And he will also have to pass like a madman, but with how much the defensive line is going to be getting after him, it's going to be rough. It's going to be tough for him. Now, that being said, Ole Miss did have 263 passing yards against Georgia, while Georgia had 289 pass yards, 221 rush yards. If we show up with a semblance of a running back-based run game and can keep Ole Miss's defense honest, because mind you, they gave up almost 300 passing yards to Georgia, and then Georgia's rushing attack is usually pretty dang good. 221 rush yards just on Saturday. If we show up with a semblance of a rushing attack, I think we'll be okay. And if we can make the pass game complementary to the run game, and we make it all come together on offense and just play good all the way around, we don't have to be excellent off the charts at either. We have to play complementary both in the run game and the pass game. Not turn the ball over, control the clock, and let the defense do its thing and get after Trinidad Chambliss. We'll stuff the run game, then get after Trinidad. Oklahoma should win that game. And right now, they are a 3.5-point favorite against the Rebs as they come to town on Saturday. Now, one thing that does concern me a little bit Our defense did have trouble with Trey Wisner last week versus Texas. But again, I think it's safe to say, because that all came in the second half, I think it's safe to say that the Texas game was a uncharacteristic performance from the Oklahoma defense. I think we'll stuff that run game. I think we'll stuff Ole Miss's running backs. We'll control Chambliss, and we'll get after him. And then it's just a matter of how do we handle the pass game? How do we handle the pass game? Now, Chambliss is still pretty dang scary. Kid's mobile. He's got a great arm. He's a hell of a playmaker. So it's probably the most daunting task in quarterback that Oklahoma will have to face so far this season. Honestly, of the rest of the quarterbacks we face this year, I think the two that are the most scary are Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss, and Ty Simpson at Alabama. Joey Aguilar will make mistakes, especially against a sophisticated defense like Brent Venables. Garrett Nussmeier is not everything that LSU was thinking he would be, or marketing him to be, I should say. And Bo Pribula had a rough time against Auburn's defense on Saturday, and Oklahoma's defense is better than Auburn's. And they're going to be playing in Norman, and OU fans are pissed about how we lost to Mizzou last year. So, yeah, I think right now the two games that scare me the most right now are Ole Miss and Alabama because they're good quarterbacks, because Chambliss and Simpson are pretty dang good. But if we keep the run game going, if we own the clock, complimentary on the pass game, and focus on getting some of those injured guys on the O-line back if we can, keep Torrey and Xavier Robinson going nuts in the run game, make them the primary focus of the offense now, with John still doing what he needs to do in the pass game. But don't put John in the position where he has to go play Superman. Unless, don't make it a habit of having John play Superman. If you need a drive or two per game where he needs to go do something, yeah, absolutely. That's what we brought him here for, to be a Superman threat. But keep the consistency everywhere. Protect the ball. Keep John healthy. Keep John comfortable. Get him more comfortable. And keep up the intensity and the anger and the aggression that this team is playing with, because they played with a lot of it on Saturday against the Cox. But the gauntlet is starting. All 5 teams left on our schedule are ranked, and they probably will be to end the year. I think Ole Miss is good. I think Tennessee is pretty dang good. Alabama's fantastic, probably the front runner for the SEC championship right now. Mizzou is pretty dang good. And LSU honestly is the least scary team on the rest of our schedule looking at it now, because they can't run the ball. And our defense has a field day with stopping what little run there is and then getting after the quarterback from there. And also that game's at home. But point is that the gauntlet is starting. And if we want to make the playoffs, we have to go 4-1 or 3-2 down the stretch from here. And the only way the 3-2 option works in my mind, I think 10-2, we're in. I think 9-3, it depends on those last 2 losses. Who are they to? Are they to Ole Miss and Alabama? And do they win out the rest of the year? And how close are those losses? Are they by a field goal or by a safety or 1 missed point or something? Are they super, super close? But right now, because remember, we are 6-1. Everything is still on the table for Oklahoma right now. We are 6-1. We aren't crapping our pants worrying about bowl eligibility like last year, where Mizzou was supposed to be that bowl eligible win, or win to put us into bowl eligibility. And then we choked that, or Jackson Arnold choked it, and then we somehow had to pray for devil magic against Alabama. And I remember standing there in the stands watching that game what did we do to deserve this? Was this what the Mizzou loss was for, so we could have this? And I remember rushing the field and just looking at all my friends that I was there with, just what? What's going on? We don't got to do that anymore this year because we're already there. We are already at bowl eligibility. But everything is out in front of us. Everything right now. We have 5 games left. We can win. We probably will win 3 of them, honestly. I'd believe it. If we play like we did last game against South Carolina, I think we can do it. I think we can go 3-2 or 4-1 down the stretch. I don't think we'll go 5-0. I think going down to Tuscaloosa against Ty Simpson and Kalen DeBoer and them still being mad about the dressing down they got from us last year, I think that one's probably a loss. But I think we could go into Tennessee and beat Josh Heupel. I think we can beat Ole Miss at home. I think we can beat Mizzou at home. I think we can beat LSU at home. 4-1 is not out of the realm of possibility. Now, it's still kind of on the fence, but it's very possible. And we're still in the race, is the point. We can do it. We need to keep up the intensity. We need to stay healthy. We need to nail down the discipline, get a little bit better at tackling, get a little bit cleaner everywhere, and just keep dominating, keep that blue-collar Brent Venables mentality and that intensity that entire coaching staff brings with him, or with them, I should say. But yeah, we've got it all out in front of us. The whole year is still very much Oklahoma's game, Oklahoma's oyster, if they want it to be, and if they make it that way. But yeah, really excited to see how we do. Probably going to end up, again, I don't live in Norman, so I don't get to go to all the games, but I'm trying to get up there for the Ole Miss game this Saturday. We'll see how that goes. If so, we'll not be able to do tons of live updates during the game because connection at Memorial Stadium's not that great at times. But we will, of course, keep you apprised to all developments going on. We plan to have the Wacko Weekly podcast back up this week. Had to miss it last week. Sorry about that. And then, of course, the Wacko Preview on Friday, previewing the game and making our Wacko picks of the week. Well, Sooner Nation, that's going to wrap it for this edition of the Wacko Review Podcast, where we break down all things OU football coming out of the weekend. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, never miss an episode, and go follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, game highlights, and, of course, a couple of lighthearted memes and reels to keep it fun, like we like it here in Sooner Nation. Go hit those follows so you always stay in the Wacko loop. Have a great week. With that being said, Boomer Sooner.